Okay, so when you guys went to name a ray, I just want to remind you that when you name a ray, that you always have to list the endpoint first. So if I was naming this ray, and you would have written this down in your notes, but I would call this ray AB, and I would put the ray sign pointing to the right, and I would make sure that A was first because A is the endpoint of the ray. So be careful when you do that. It's always the endpoint first. Opposite rays. This came up a couple times too in the practice that we did. Opposite rays are rays that start at the same endpoint and they go opposite directions. So if I was standing at A and I walked to C, ray AC would be opposite if I went from ray A to B. So they're both starting at the same endpoint, but they're walking opposite directions. So notice A is the first one in both of those because it's the endpoint, but they're going opposite ways. Okay, then I skip down to congruent angles. I want you to know that congruent angles are identical in size and shape and in measure. So let's say that I had two angles that I wanted to say were congruent. I would need to mark the picture with arc marks to show that they match. So I could do like 1 and 1, or I could do like 2 and 2, and then that would show me that they're congruent. Now let me show you how you write the notation for something like this. If I wanted to say angle A was a twin with B, or the same size and shape, I would say angle A is congruent to angle B. Now, if I was talking about the measure, let's say that I wanted to talk about how they were both 30 degrees, then I could say the measure, that little m is measure of angle A equals the measure of angle B, and notice that the little wave is gone. Because here I'm talking about their degree, and here I'm talking about what they physically look like. Kind of like with segments when we take the bar off and we talk about their size, like both 3 inches, you would take the bar off the segment sign. Here you're adding the little m's and you're using the equal sign. So that's the notation there. Okay, an angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. So likewise, if I'm going to mark my picture, I'm going to use arc marks that match. You can do 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. As long as the two angles match, then it shows that this ray is bisecting the angle. Kind of like a midpoint is the middle of a segment where you use ticks. And then angle addition postulate. Angle addition postulate is a postulate that shows that the two little angles add up to the big one. So it would be the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 3. Now, in the book, they have ABC, like they use the letters, I think ABC. I just made it more simplistic with numbers. But all it is that the two little angles add up to equal the third big angle, which is called angle addition. It's a lot like segment addition that we were doing at the beginning of the chapter.